of us are probably familiar with the story of Solomon, the king of Israel, and how he humbly requested wisdom and knowledge when God offered to grant him any wish. Because he did not ask for wealth or power, God gave Solomon what he asked for, in addition to wealth and power, the likes of which no king ever knew before or has ever known since. According to some sources, the extent of Solomon's wisdom and knowledge also included the ability to summon and command demons. The non-canonical Testament of Solomon tells us that the king actually even made the demons build a temple for him. In Luke 11:14-31, we find Jesus driving a demon out of a man, only to be accused of working his exorcism by the power of Satan. After rebuking the crowd and assuring them that he drives out spirits in the name of God, Christ finishes his lecture with some interesting and peculiar words. For as Jonah was a sign to the Ninevites, so also will the Son of Man be to this generation. The queen of the south will rise at the judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them, for she came from the ends of the earth to listen to Solomon's wisdom, and now one greater than Solomon is here. What exactly was Jesus saying here? He begins by claiming that the Son of Man, a term he often used for himself, would be a sign for the generation he was speaking to. Next, he states that the Queen of the South will stand in judgment over them, as she traveled far to hear the wisdom of Solomon. The Queen of the South is the Queen of Sheba, spoken of in 1 Kings 10. This enigmatic queen came because she heard about the fame of Solomon and wanted to test him. When he fulfilled her test, she praised him and paid tribute. It says that Solomon gave the Queen of Sheba all she desired and asked for, and then in verse 13 she departs for her country, never to be heard from again. Just how was the queen putting Solomon to the test? Jewish tradition and the Talmud and Targum associate her with Lilith, a woman who was many things in different folklore, including a demon, a witch, and even Adam's deceitful first wife. The Haggadah says the Queen of Sheba had hairy legs, which was then taken as a sign of a demoness. In keeping with tradition, the Testament of Solomon also presents her as a witch. Needless to say, there is a large and long legacy that basically considered the Queen of Sheba to be a sorceress, and so it could be argued that her visit with Solomon was perhaps to assess his skill and knowledge in the art of sorcery. But the real significance of the Luke passage is not just in the people Jesus references, but in the context he references them in. Right after casting a demon out of a man, Christ reminds his audience of the Queen of Sheba's visit to Solomon, and then tells them, "One greater than Solomon is here." What else could this be addressing other than the legends of Solomon's sorcery and control over demons? The Jewish Talmud records that a man named Yeshu, identified by some as Jesus, was hanged for practicing sorcery. As an interesting aside, Paul refers to Jesus' death as a hanging in Galatians 3:13. Gnostic scriptures, like the Gospel of Nicodemus, related Jesus to sorcery as well, and of course there is the odd event of the 3 wise men, or magi, who visited Jesus at the manger, according to the Gospels. Just last year, a bowl supposedly bearing the Greek inscription, "By Christ the Magician," was found at Alexandria, dated between the 2nd century BC and 1st century AD. The artifact is not without dissenting opinions, of course, but it's merely one possible bit of evidence among quite a collection of perspectives that claim Jesus of Nazareth was a sorcerer. It may also be further evidence that the New Testament authors and Jesus, if he existed, were familiar with many more scriptures than have made it into our own canon, and even respected them as legitimate documents.